Bienvenidos a la clase de Español. Welcome to another lesson in our Spanish series for the lower secondary school. We would like to thank the Ministry of Education as well as TTT for making this venture possible. Presten atención y disfrútense. Pay attention and enjoy. I am Gabriel Pedro of Mucurapo West Secondary School, and I'll be conducting your lesson today. In today's lesson, we're going to learn how to describe persons in Spanish. Let's begin. If I were to ask you to describe yourself, what would you tell me? Can you think of some describing words that you can use to describe your physical appearance? In today's lesson, we're going to learn how to ask about a person's physical description, as well as to give information about physical descriptions of oneself and others. What do you look like? In Spanish, to ask someone what he or she looks like, we ask, ¿Cómo eres? This means, what are you like? That again is, ¿Cómo eres? Repitan. Muy bien. For example, you've been chatting with your cousin, but you haven't seen him in person in a while. To find out from him what he looks like, you can ask him, ¿Cómo eres? Now let's look at these pictures. I'm sure just by looking at these characters, you can think of some describing words that you can use to describe these people. Our first describing word is the word for short. In Spanish, the word for short is bajo. Repitan, bajo. Muy bien. To respond to the question, ¿Cómo eres?, the gentleman on the left would say, soy bajo. And the lady on the right would say, soy baja, both meaning I am short. Notice the change in the ending of the adjectives bajo and baja. Generally, for nouns that are masculine and singular, adjectives end in O in Spanish. And for nouns that are feminine and singular, adjectives end in an A. Just to expound on that a little bit, and we must remember this, adjectives must agree in gender and number with the noun, the person or thing, that they are describing. For example, as we mentioned earlier, soy bajo, I am short, for a masculine singular noun, and soy baja, I am short, for a feminine singular noun. Let's move on to some more adjectives. For someone who is tall, the Spanish word for tall is alto. Repitan, alto. Muy bien. So to respond to the question, ¿Cómo eres?, the gentleman would respond, soy alto. And a tall lady would say, soy alta. Slim. The Spanish word for slim is delgado. Repitan, delgado. Sí. So a slim man would say, soy delgado, meaning I am slim, and a slim lady or woman would say, soy delgada, again meaning I am slim. Pay attention to the vowels at the end of these adjectives. I see somebody looking at a scale, probably monitoring some weight loss or weight gain. This can mean that the person is fat. And the Spanish word for fat is gordo. Repitan, gordo. Sí. To respond to the question, ¿Cómo eres?, a fat man or boy would say, soy gordo. And a fat woman, young lady or girl may say, soy gorda. So if someone is not so good looking, we have a word for that in Spanish. And the word is feo. Feo means ugly. Repitan, feo. To respond to the question, ¿Cómo eres?, an ugly man would say, soy feo. And an ugly woman would say, soy fea. Now, if you're not so young, the Spanish word for old is viejo. Repitan, viejo. So an old man would say, soy viejo. An old woman would say, soy vieja, both meaning I am old. For the good-looking people, the word for good-looking or handsome is guapo. Repitan, guapo. Muy bien. A good-looking man would say, soy guapo. And a good-looking woman would say, soy guapa. Now, there's another word to describe good-looking or handsome, and that word is lindo. Repitan, lindo. So a good-looking man would say, soy lindo, and a good-looking woman would say, soy linda. Now, here's another interesting adjective, young. The Spanish word for young is joven. Joven. To respond to the question, ¿Cómo eres?, a young boy would say, soy joven, and a young girl would say, soy joven. Now, pay attention to the endings of these two adjectives. I'll explain later on, and we'll understand the difference between this adjective and the others that we've looked at previously. Vamos a repasar. Let's review what we've done so far. Actividad 1. What would the following person say in each situation? You've been chatting with a friend from Spain, and they would like to know what you look like. What does she ask you in her native language? Do you remember what the question was? Sí, ¿cómo eres? What would this person say to describe himself? I think he looks a little bit good looking. Do you remember the words? Sí, he can either say soy lindo or soy guapo. Muy bien. Now, what would this person say to describe himself? Do you remember the describing word for fat? Yes, he says, soy gordo. Now, how would this person describe herself? I don't think she's very tall. What word can she use to describe herself? Claro. She says, soy baja. Now, time for a quick review. Let's look at some important things to remember. Most adjectives change to agree with the nouns that they are describing. Also, adjectives must agree in number and gender with the nouns that they are describing. For example, Mario es gordo. Here we have a masculine singular noun and a masculine singular adjective. Mario es gordo. In the second example, Juliana es gorda. Juliana, a feminine singular noun, goes with gorda, a feminine singular adjective. Additionally, some adjectives do not have masculine and feminine variations. For example, joven. Joven represents masculine singular nouns as well as feminine singular nouns. There's no change at the ending of these words. You've done so much so far. I think you deserve a short break. Vamos a tomar una pausa and we'll be right back with some more about describing persons in Spanish. Welcome back. Vamos a continuar. I hope you've been enjoying our lessons so far about learning how to describe persons in Spanish. Let's continue. Giving details about physical characteristics of others. What is he or she like? We use the following question to ask what someone is like. ¿Cómo es? ¿Cómo es? This means, what is he or she like? ¿Cómo es? Repitan. Muy bien. Let's look at some examples of how we request and give information about what someone else looks like. Here is Alberto. And Alberto is short. We say, Alberto es bajo. Alberto es bajo. ¿Cómo es Juan? And we know that Juan is good looking. So we say, Juan es guapo. ¿Y cómo es Luis? What is Luis like? Luis es alto. Luis es alto. He is tall. ¿Cómo es Carolina? Carolina es linda. Carolina is good looking. She's pretty. ¿Y cómo es Ignacia? Ignacia es fea. Ignacia is ugly. ¿Cómo es Juliana? Since Juliana is young, we say Juliana es joven. ¿Cómo es Pablo? ¿Cómo es Pablo? Pablo is old, so we say that Pablo es viejo. ¿Y cómo es María? Since Maria is fat, we say María es gorda. ¿Cómo es Señora Rivera? Since she's old, we say Señora Rivera es vieja. Now, let's review what we've done so far. Let's start with some important things to remember. Adjectives must agree in gender and number with the noun, that is the person or thing that they are describing. For example, if we are describing Pablo and Pablo is fat, we say Pablo es gordo. Notice the ending of the adjective with an O for masculine singular nouns. In the second example, Mariana is fat, Mariana es gorda. The adjective here ends in an A for a feminine singular noun. Some more examples. If Señor Rodriguez is tall, we say Señor Rodriguez es alto. And since Irma is slim, we say Irma es delgada. Here's a table at the adjectives that we've done so far. On the left, you see the English adjectives. In the middle, we see masculine singular adjectives. And on the right, feminine singular adjectives. Notice the difference in the endings of most of these adjectives. Actividad 2. Read each dialogue and answer the questions that follow. Dialogue 1. Juan. Hola, Carlos. ¿Cómo eres? Carlos. Hola, Juan. Soy alto y guapo. ¿Y tú? ¿Cómo eres? Juan. Soy bajo y delgado. Carlos. Muy bien. Mucho gusto. Can you tell me what Carlos looks like? Sí. Carlos is tall and handsome. He says, soy alto y guapo. Now, can you tell me how does Juan describe himself? Yes, Juan says that he is short and slim. He says, soy bajo y delgado. Dialogue 2. Jaime. Carolina, ¿cómo es tu hermana? Carolina. Mi hermana es baja y gorda. ¿Y tu mamá? ¿Cómo es? Jaime. Mi mamá es delgada y linda. Carolina, qué bueno. Can you tell me what Jaime's sister looks like? Jaime's sister is short and fat. She says, mi hermana es baja y gorda. Now, how does Jaime describe his mother? Jaime's mother is slim and beautiful or pretty. Jaime says, mi mamá es delgada y linda. Now, let's move to another activity. Read the following scenarios and answer each question in Spanish. You are taking a stroll when suddenly you witness a man stealing someone's handbag. The police officer is asking you to give a description of the individual. What does the police officer ask you? Do you remember the question to ask for a description of someone else? Claro. The question is, ¿cómo es? Now, when you are giving a description of the individual, how do you say to the officer the following? The boy is fat. El niño es gorda, feo, delgado, o gordo. What do you think is the correct answer? Yes, sí. El niño es gordo. The boy is fat. Here we use an adjective that ends in an O because we're referring to a masculine singular noun, the boy. Which of the following do you ask if you would like to ask Isabella what Ignacia looks like? Would you say, ¿cómo es? Or would you say, ¿cómo eres? If you said, ¿cómo es?, you're correct. We use the question, ¿cómo es?, to ask about a description of someone else. Now you're updating your social media profile and want to state that you are tall and handsome. What do you say? Soy bajo y gordo. Soy alto y feo. Soy bajo y delgado. O soy alto y guapo. Have a look again. Now tell me what is your answer. Yes, he says, soy alto y guapo. I am tall and good-looking or handsome. How would you say to your friend that your mother is short and fat? Mi mamá es baja y gorda, baja y linda, alta y fea, baja y vieja. What is your answer? Yes, I can hear you screaming through the television. Yes, the answer is mi mamá es baja y gorda. How would you describe your sister if you want to say that she is tall and pretty? Mi hermana es baja y linda, baja y fea, alta y joven, alta y linda. Tell me what you think. Sí, mi hermana es alta y linda. She is tall and pretty. Muy bien. Let's have a little clap. You're making me so proud today. You've done so well, and we're almost through with the lesson. But let's have a quick review. What have we learned today? We've learned that when speaking to someone and we want to ask him or her what he or she looks like, we ask, ¿cómo eres? This means, what are you like? When asking someone to describe another person, we use the question, ¿cómo es? And this means, what is he or she like? We've also learned some Spanish adjectives for the following descriptive words: tall, short, fat, slim, ugly, good-looking, handsome or pretty, old, and young. And here is a table of these adjectives. Some important things to remember. Most adjectives change to agree with the nouns they are describing. Also, adjectives must agree in number and gender with the nouns that they are describing. Example, Mario es gordo. This example explains why we use a masculine singular adjective to agree with a masculine singular noun. Some adjectives do not have masculine and feminine forms and only have one version in the singular. Example, the adjective young, joven, which does not change for masculine and feminine nouns. Now we've come to the end of our lesson. Remember that you can find this lesson and others at the School Learning Management System on the Ministry of Education's website at learn.moe.gov.tt. I hope you had fun today. I surely did. Now you can feel free to ask any Spanish speaker what he or she looks like and give a description about yourself and others. I hope to see you soon. Ciao.